What's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue, and we got Darren in the house. Darren is live streaming through Zoom here. We got what we have in store for you guys today is a Wonder Woman 1984 spoiler review. So if you guys have not seen the movie, I don't know why you're in this live stream right now. Go see the movie and go watch the recording of this video. Anyways, it's been a crazy holiday weekend. Darren, how was your holiday? And then we'll kind of jump into it after we just catch up for a quick sec.
Yeah, dude, it was different this year. We just stayed in our apartment. We had Bernie's family come over, and then I came over to my mom's house. But we're all good. I mean, my mom doesn't have work, so I work from home too. So we're all pretty safe here. And so yeah, it was super short. This time I actually cooked this year. I cooked ribs. I don't normally cook, but it's what I've been doing during
Chef
quarantine.
Darren.
So,
Okay,
dude,
cool.
I was doing like this Gordon Ramsay recipe. It's like the sticky ribs. So
Yeah, okay.
it's like really good. But yeah, how was yours?
Weekend was cool. We kept it super low key, and I think this Wonder Woman movie was like the thing that got me super pumped for, like, you know, my family coming over, and we watched it together, and we had like 3 kids in the house, 2 of them babies, and it was insane. While I was watching Wonder Woman the first time, I watched it again last night, but while I was watching it the first time, like, there were crazy, we have 4 dogs in the house too, so it was just insane. I had to pause the movie. So I watched it again last night, and getting ready for this review. Welcome everybody who's joining us. By the way, we're gonna go into the comments later on in this video, and just let us know what you thought, because we're gonna go and see what you guys thought. Because looking online, you know, Darren and I were talking about this right before the stream started. There is a lot of mixed reactions, even amongst the DCEU hardcore fans, and so I'm really curious to see what you guys thought about it. So let us know how you liked it. What's going on, guys? I see you guys joining in, Jay, George, Lyndon. We're gonna go into what you guys had to say about it in a little bit. But here's what we got in store for today. We're gonna go into let's see. We're gonna go. Here's what we have in store. So we got our topics for today. Overall thoughts. We're gonna go into our likes, our dislikes. We're gonna score the movie based on a 5-point scale or a out of 5. And we're going to rank our current DC movies as well. And then Wonder Woman 3 just got announced, so we're going to talk about that at the end of the video too. So, Darren, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you first. So, what were your overall thoughts? Sum up in a few sentences. What are your overall thoughts of the movie?
Oh man, this is a loaded question already.
Yeah,
Damn.
sorry,
Okay.
you had to be the first one to do it.
Overall thoughts. I thought this movie was, mediocre. I thought it was okay. The movie is it's a very different superhero movie. And because it's a Wonder Woman movie, that's why it's like that, right? And so, it's not your typical like action movie. For some reason it just like it doesn't live up to the expectation, doesn't live up to the hype.
Okay.
There's a lot of shortcomings in this movie.
Okay.
And so I thought this movie was okay.
It was okay.
I wasn't like entertained. I think that's the one thing that
You weren't entertained.
I wasn't
Okay.
really entertained.
Okay.
No. Like it was just the tip. I only just got just the tip, right? So, it just, I need to go, like, this answer, I need to go more in depth. So
yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go into
to talk about this.
Yeah, for sure. And I totally get you. So what I thought about this movie, you know, if you asked me the first time I watched it and after the second time, there would have been 2 different answers.
Yeah.
But overall, this movie, I felt like this movie was, I get the same feeling as I got getting up for a Saturday morning cartoon. back in the day, you know, watching your favorite show in the morning. That's the kind of entertainment I got out of this movie. I came out entertained, and but the thing is, I came in with very subdued expectations because of what I saw in the trailers and in the little segments that kind of got leaked out. And so it helped me kind of prepare for what kind of, you know, theme or themes and action that we were going to get in this movie. So I came out entertained, and I think that's just it. And you know what kind of sums it up on Twitter, and we're going to go into the details. I see you guys jumping in there in the comments. We're going to go into the details and go into what you guys have to say in a bit. But it's funny because you posted on our Twitter account. Here's what you posted. I'm on our Twitter right here. And I was kind of laughing at what you posted because I was like, that kind of sums up how I felt about it. So you have this little T.I. meme. He's just like leaning back and he goes, okay, this is what it is. Like, and
that's exactly, exactly how I feel. I think that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So, overall, guys, if you can shorten your thoughts about this movie in just a sentence or two, definitely drop down below. We'll talk about it later, because I have a lot of thoughts, but if I had to sum it up, I was entertained and I was okay with it. I was
okay with it.
Shoot, man, my coffee is kicking in right now. So if I start talking fast, guys, don't mind me. My coffee's kicking in hard. But let's go over and talk about our likes and dislikes. Now, I'll go first since I made the graphics for this live stream. So, likes and dislikes. Here, this is not all of my likes, and it's not all of my dislikes. So, let me go over this list that I got for you guys. So, my likes. I loved the time period we're in. The 80s is just something that I think I can't get enough of in terms of entertainment. You know, it's always done very well and a little bit differently between artists. You know, whether you're watching like Stranger Things or Wonder Woman 1984, all the aesthetics are there, and or if you're watching it, you know, you get different takes on the 80s based on the filmmaker's perspective and the writer's perspective. So it's always cool traveling back in time to the 80s. So I did love the time period, and I thought the movie did really well in establishing the time period and kind of immersing yourself in that. It felt like I was in there. The second time I watched it, I was with my parents, and they were like, yeah, this is the year we got married, and 1984 is the year my parents got married. And they were like, yeah, it was totally like this. I had my shoulder pads and my puffy hair. So I enjoyed that. It's always fun going back into the 80s for me. Second thing for me is I loved the Hans Zimmer score. You know, the opening sequence of this movie alone, traveling back to the Mascara, he had a twist on the score which was amazing. I mean, I loved it. There's other parts of that I didn't really dig, but I'll talk about that later. But Hans Zimmer continues to kind of establish himself to me as like the best composer for superhero movies right now. We'll get that tested with Junkie XL and Justice League, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, Hans Zimmer, man, his score is amazing. And, you know, we'll talk about the climax at the end. And I know there were some people who don't like it, but I thought the use of A Beautiful Lie I loved it. Now, I know there's people who didn't, but I loved it. And then we can go into discussion and kind of compare our list in a second. I loved that Wonder Woman leveled up in this movie in a lot of different ways. Now, with this leveling up of Wonder Woman comes some questions, right? And that's kind of in my dislikes, kind of. But I loved to see them pull from Wonder Woman lore and kind of just establish these things in her abilities now. So her being able to fly, being able, you know, bringing in that invisible jet. I didn't think they'd do it. I was kind of hoping they weren't going to do it. Cool. I was kind of hoping they weren't going to do it, but when they did, I was like, okay, I can get down with this. I like this. You know, so I kind of was just along for the ride. And then Pedro Pascal, man, I think he steals the show in a lot of different ways. And again, I'm going to let you go through your list and we can just talk about this.
That's fine.
Cheetah versus Wonder Woman. The little that we got, I thought was awesome. Now, Kristen Wiig as a whole, I think could have been fleshed out a lot more. I think Pedro Pascal got fleshed out really well. Kristen Wiig, I think it was kind of like fast storytelling with her, like just letting you know, hey, oh, here's who she is. Here's her transformation really quick. Here's how you know she's transforming. She can balance on her heel. But I didn't really like that part. But the cheetah aspect of it, what we got at the end, I liked, and I did like the climax. Some people might have found it anticlimactic, but I did like how the movie ended, and you can tell it's different than Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, because it didn't end with a bombastic fight sequence. That was kind of half-assed, you know. She got to tell the ending that she wanted, and Patty Jenkins famously said just recently that Warner Brothers made her change the ending of the first movie to make it bigger, more action, a bigger action sequence. So those are my likes, Darren. You can talk about it, riff off of mine. Let me know what your likes were for this movie.
Yeah, I have some. We have similar likes, but I'm just gonna go down mine. So the first thing I liked about this movie was the opening scene. I really love the obstacle course, the race, whatever you call it, in Themyscira. I thought that was so cool. I love the music. The music in the intro was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of the score of the entire movie, but specifically this opening score was so good. Like, it was epic. I was excited. I'm like, oh yes, Wonder Woman again. Keep in mind, I watched like Wonder Woman like 5 times in the theaters. One time I even watched it by myself. I love the movie. It's way out. It's like on the top of my list of DCU movies. So this movie, I was so hyped from the beginning, right? Even though that was like our only scene of Themyscira, I purely loved it. And then the next thing I liked was Wonder Woman saving people. We got a lot of that.
Yeah.
There was times where it felt like it was like too much, but I loved it because we never really see that in DC movies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw some. We get like Superman saving like 2 people, and we got some of that in Justice League 2, but I don't know how Zack Snyder is gonna pull that out. Gonna do that in his version, but
yeah.
This time it's like really like Patty Jenkins wanted to show you, like, you know, Wonder Woman is like saving people behind the scenes, and is trying to be very discreet about it. You know, besides being in the mall and opening daylight.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that. I also liked how they utilize Wonder Woman's like lasso and tiara. I thought the lasso, I liked it to a certain extent. Catching a bullet was a little bit too ridiculous for me.
Oh,
man. A little bit too ridiculous for me.
I'm gonna go into that. I'm going in on that scene.
I thought that was too ridiculous. But
yeah.
I did like how she was able to, like, you know, use it to fly. I liked how she was able to like dodge bullets with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like unrealistic, but it is what it is. It works for me.
Okay.
And then the tiara, I liked how she used it. I was waiting for her to. I didn't think she was gonna use it like at all in the DCU, but
yeah,
I'm glad that they utilized it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I liked how Diana was in the beginning. Like, I like how she was different. Like, she was very focused, determined in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
She was like she had like tunnel vision, right? And
yeah.
she kept herself distant from people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you could kind of see how she grew into the person she was when we see her in Batman vs Superman. So I felt that felt real to me.
Yeah, you know, Diana actually gets a lot more shine in this movie, which is something it's a positive that I didn't have on mine, but it was definitely there. I did love how we got to see more of Diana, and you know, her saving people. You know, so first of all, let me just go ahead and say what's up to everyone who's in here. Who's in? So Jay, George, Shin, Francis.
What's up, guys?
Taurus, what's going on? Sean, we're gonna go into what you guys had to think. I like that you guys are chiming in. We're gonna definitely read those off in a second. But kind of riffing off what Darren had to say with the likes, definitely, again, one of the things that I liked about this is that it leveled her up in a lot of different ways, and it added to Wonder Woman's abilities in a lot of different ways. The tiara, what the lasso can do. I'm not sure I love everything about the lasso, and that's going to lead us into our dislikes. So let's go into my dislikes. I'll read mine off. Darren, you'll read yours off, and we'll kind of talk about it afterwards. You can see I have more likes than dislikes here. So first of all, the action sequences, there was not a lot. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with there not being a lot. I'm okay with the story building up to those sequences. One of those sequences that you build up to is definitely that scene in on the highway where she finds Maxwell Lord. Now, first of all, I mean, the physics of the movie kind of throw me off. Obviously superhero movies, they do all these crazy things that humans can't do, and I understand that's unrealistic. But the physics they try to make it look realistic as possible, right? This movie didn't. This movie definitely went the way of trying to make you feel like you're in an 80s action flick, I guess. And they succeeded. But in the year 2020, I don't know if that's what I wanted to see. But it was there, and I was okay with it. But that sequence specifically on the road where they're chasing Maxwell Lord, first of all, the bullet, her lasso catching the bullet, if she had just whipped the bullet out of the way, I would have been cool. But she caught the bullet with...
If she deflected it with the rope somehow,
yeah, exactly.
That would have been cool. That would have made sense. But like literally, you're gonna wrap around. Come on,
that was okay. Dude. That was too much. And then the fact you put in your likes that you liked that she was saving people. I liked that too. It almost felt like she was Spider-Man for a quick second in the opening scene.
Swinging everywhere. I know.
But there's the scene where the kids were playing on the road. It's like, dude, you got this long road in the middle of nowhere, this town in the middle of nowhere. Those kids are not going to see those big ass trucks coming. Like, you're not going to get out the way for that. So she had to like swing from an antenna, and then it looked so off. You think those kids didn't see those trucks coming? Come on, come on. Make it a little more realistic than that. I mean, if it was in a busy street in the city, then I would have been like, okay. But it's like it wasn't, there was not too much thought put into that. Like, dude, you're in the middle of the desert. The kids are going to see tanks coming and a girl flying through the air, explosions going on, gunfire. Loud. Yeah, and the kids are still playing in the middle of the street. Come on. So the action sequences were definitely not a strong point, though I will say the end fight sequence with Cheetah was cool for the first like half of it, and then it becomes like a swinging, they're just on a pendulum, and then it ends. I was like, oh, you got me up for it, and then it just ended abruptly. And I'm okay with that, like I was okay with it, but it's just something that I was nitpicking at. Like, Cheetah was kind of badass, she was messing Wonder Woman up with that armor, and I wanted to see more of it.
I wish we got more of it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, I understand that I understand it's a comic book movie, and I understand the aesthetic and the feeling that Patty Jenkins was trying to go for with this movie. I'm just ready to move past this type of feeling and the Richard Donner feeling of it. I'm ready to get something new. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely add on. I'll go into these. So I think with the likes that I had with her leveling up, it just raises some continuity questions. Like, okay, so her being able to fly, does she fly in Batman v Superman still? I mean, it's just like, I mean, her, yeah, and her being able to use the power what Zeus used to hide the mascara to make the jet invisible. Like, whoa, that would have maybe come in handy for like the future movies. But so I also know that Patty Jenkins wanted to treat this almost like a movie from the 80s, where it's like, hey, this franchise could have different Wonder Womans in different type of movies, kind of like Indiana Jones, or I don't know, I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but it's not a hard and fast rule for each movie, I guess. So that was something, it's not a huge dislike, but it just raises questions. But totally. The next one is overly simplified storytelling. I talked about how Kristen Wiig we're meant to understand that, hey, she has these abilities now, and it's told through like, hey, oh, I have balance now. I can jump on top and balance on my heels or with my high heels. And I think the biggest part to me was I was fine with it, but you get the guy who's I forget what race he is, but he's meant to explain the stone, the stone that gives you whatever you want. And
You
he's
talking
just
about
the scientist
shaman?
guy. Yeah, the shaman scientist guy. Like, wait, who are
Dude,
you? It's just like
that's
out of
the
nowhere.
stoner guy.
Yeah, it was just like out of nowhere. You
Yeah.
get him and he explained it really simple. Like I feel like that could have been done a lot more elegantly and a lot more.
Dude.
I feel like that stone could have been explained in much more intricate ways than that to make you like feel like, wow, this shit can really happen. But I was okay with it. Again, to me, the feeling of this movie was like a Saturday morning cartoon come to life. So I was
Yeah.
okay with it, but I was like, yeah, that was like really overly simplified. But it does come to a great head at the end. So I was okay. The climax of the me was to me was the strongest point of this movie. And then the little nitpicks of the dislikes is the dialogue at times. This was to me though, Gal Gadot's best performance as an actor. But there were just times where the dialogue I thought was a little off. For example, there's a scene with Kristen Wiig and Gal Gadot eating dinner or eating lunch, and they go, "Wow, you're so funny! Oh, you're so funny!" And I'm like, "Oh God, this is so campy and cheesy." I just thought, there were times where it was like that. There were some strong moments with Steve and Diana. We haven't talked about Steve yet. And then there were little bits of dialogue in there that were like, I can't do this right now. I can't do this right now. I just thought the delivery was not the best in those instances. But I do think Gal Gadot's best performance so far, and I think she is a great Wonder Woman. I just think there are little bits if I had to nitpick. But these are nitpicks, guys. I enjoyed the movie overall. It was okay. And yeah, those are my dislikes. Again, more likes than dislikes. But Darren, what were your dislikes?
Okay. Before I go into my dislikes, I wanted to add in with what I liked about this movie as
Okay.
well.
Yep.
I like the whole Steve Trevor, fish out of water. Like he's exploring like this
Yeah.
future world.
Yeah.
I love that whole aspect of it, and I love how it reversed the roles
Mhm.
with Dan and Steve in the first movie compared to this one. And I thought that was done so well, and I just loved seeing his reaction to the future.
Yeah, and
Um,
what was cool to riff off that
yeah,
is, when we saw him, we were like, how are they going to bring him back? This is kind of, I don't like
yeah,
this. And, automatically you're kind of like, I don't know if I like this. But the way how, like the panning movements to kind of make you realize, hey, this is really not Steve Trevor. It's this Steve Trevor in a body, and she's just
uh,
seeing him. I thought that was cool
yeah,
too.
yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
It was a little silly when you could hear his voice, and
yeah,
it's not the dude's voice. I'm like, what
yeah,
the hell's going on?
yeah,
And I was like, oh, okay, this is where we meet Steve Trevor again.
yeah.
But
All right,
anyways,
cool. Yeah, your
let's
dislikes.
let's jump into my dislikes. So I'm just gonna start with the action scenes as well. So I felt like there wasn't enough action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was rewatching it last night, and from the mall scene to the next fight scene, which is the desert scene, that was an hour. They were an hour apart.
Yeah,
That
definitely some
was
pacing issues too.
yeah. It felt you really feel that hour in the movie. Like you're like I'm getting like this is kind of like what's happening like Gal or Diane and Steve, they're like running around and everyone's just running around doing their thing, but there was no exciting part besides Steve Trevor finding out like what the future is like. There wasn't anything tangible during that time, and you just feel how long that movie was.
Yeah,
um and I felt like the action scenes were, I think I was watching Grace's review, and she really nails it, where Wonder Woman was purely, when in all of her fight scenes, she's mostly on the defense,
yeah,
right? She was never on the offense, so you never really see her brute strength. Like she never really goes all out in these action scenes.
mm-hmm.
Not like the first movie, like she just gives no f's, right?
Yeah.
And she goes all out. And for this one is, I think that's was a huge letdown with the action scenes. Like you never, like you just get the tip, of like the actions of Wonder Woman in the action scenes.
Yeah.
And because she's playing defense.
Yeah.
And because she doesn't want to hurt anybody.
For sure.
Yeah. She's so compassionate.
Yeah.
And that was a huge letdown for me.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And I mean, yeah. I mean that's the plot of the movie. I feel like the plot of the movie could have been a lot better as well. But anyways, another thing that it's not like I didn't like, but I kind of questioned it. Like, did it have to be set in the 1980s? Like specifically, like I love the era, right? I love the era, but did the 80s contribute to the story?
I think it. To be fair, I think it did. But go ahead.
But like if you're gonna set it in a certain era, it has to be a character in the movie. Like it has to like in the first movie, it was set in World War One, right? And so literally like that was World War One was part of the movie, that era. But in this one, it's like what is, like you could easily have said like this plot could be set in the 90s, could have been set to the 2000s.
Yeah.
Here's so like, but why specifically the 80s? Like, what did it have to do with the story?
So if it was to respond to that in defense of the 80s, I would say, and again, everyone, you're definitely entitled to your opinion. I definitely think, there are aspects. Okay, let me just go into it. So the 80s, sorry, I go on tangents, guys. And we're going to get into your comments right after this little segment, guys. So I appreciate everyone joining in. So the 80s, I think it's an era of excess, as Patty has mentioned in interviews before.
Yeah.
But her drive home kind of theme of this movie was that, I mean, you see it at the end where it's like, hey, this era of excess, the greed can sometimes blind you to what you're actually losing. And I think the story, the words that Antiope says in the beginning kind of help resonate this theme, although I thought it could have been done stronger. But I definitely think, hey, don't let your desire for whatever material possessions, power, money, what have you, kind of blind you to the fact that these, your pursuit of these things can make you lose yourself in the process. And I think the theme can be accentuated by the 80s in the era of excess, the era where, it's kind of hits you over the head, with Maxwell Lord, more, it kind of hits you over the head with it. And I think this was a time period where everything was excessive, not only from the clothing, but all the way up till the nuclear arms race. Just how how much we went to try and one up each other in terms of our different countries, and so I think that's why the 80s felt good. And I just think it just makes for great aesthetics for the movie. So I thought, with all of that, that's why I think it was set in the 80s. And also because it makes it so Patty can tell you what she did in the meantime, from that I forget how much was it, 100 years or something, where she's been gone from this world, and it shows you, hey, this is how she's been using her tiara to break all the cameras, and in this era there's not that advanced technology that can identify her. So when Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman, so from what I understand, Patty Jenkins is trying to play within Zack Snyder's universe still. So so that's my defense of it. But that's why so that's what I think. But I mean,
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I knew that, but it's just I kind of, I guess I wish I wanted more of a reason. Like I understand the whole excess of like how the world was back then in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted something more tangible.
Cool.
But anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So was that all your dislikes?
No. I only said two things.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
It's okay. So let's see. I'm gonna try to keep it shorter than in my actual notes here. Let's see here. I'll say that I don't know with the whole with I just felt like Max Lord, um, he just wasn't. He just kind of a boring villain. Like
You
I
didn't like
understand the
him,
whole.
huh?
I didn't
Okay,
like him.
okay,
I mean I like Pedro Pascal. I
sure.
think he has great charisma, and I think he brought a lot to what he was given
Yeah,
to the character. But honestly, I just felt like he just his scenes were just like I don't know. It wasn't. He didn't. I didn't feel threat. I didn't feel threatened when every time he was on screen. Right. I
sure.
didn't feel like I felt like he was there to represent greed, and then Cheetah was there to represent like strength or just like his muscle, right? For the action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he was trying to do his thing. He was trying to like be the most successful man in the world, and he was trying to like conquer everything. And he wasn't. He was just. He was a man on a mission, and Wonder Woman was just trying to chase him throughout the whole movie.
Yeah,
And it just like it felt like there was no like real conflict with him and Wonder Woman. Like I didn't feel that.
yeah, I think it's more or less of a physical conflict that Patty
Yeah,
Jenkins is going for at for sure, and I
but
think there
it's
are more tropes of the '80s characters, with the type of person he is. There are more tropes of the characters that are often portrayed in movies in the '80s. I think so. Yeah, you're right. But
I
yeah,
mean
I
like
can see
he could
how.
have like I don't know, like I just didn't feel like again, like I didn't feel like he was a huge threat. Like it wasn't until like the last like the last act where he like you're like, "Oh, dang, so the world is going to shit." Um and I just didn't feel like the stakes were that high, and I just felt like I felt like Wonder Woman was just chasing Maxwell Lord and she couldn't keep up with him. And every time we saw his scenes, like every time he was like making wishes and all that stuff, I just felt like it. I felt like it didn't his character. Like there wasn't a huge arc with his character. Like in the beginning, he was already greedy. Like he wasn't successful, but he was greedy and he was already obsessed. Like he already had a plan with the stone, right? If you were like it would be different if like he got the stone and he just made one wish and the wish was like I want to rule the world or I want to be the most successful man. But his wish, he already knew what the stone could do, and he already had plans to become the stone and make as many wishes as he wanted. And so the development of his character, he was already super greedy. He just got greedier,
Yeah,
and it just
yeah.
like there wasn't a
Well,
like
you get that at the end, though. To be fair, but I totally
yeah
get what you're saying.
yeah
I
yeah.
agree with
But
you,
like
and yeah,
but with Cheetah, it was different. Like she had like a real arc. Like that's why I loved Cheetah's character, and I love what they showed us. But I just wish we had more of like I love Barbara. I just
yeah,
wish we had more Cheetah.
yeah. Me too. Yeah.
And so like and so I guess it was just like I wish they explored more of Maxwell Lord's like motivation for why he wants to like they gave us like those flashbacks, but I wish they gave us more motivations to why he wants to why is he the way he is right now.
Okay.
Like maybe explore like being more of like an outsider, maybe being like a minority in America, and trying to prove people wrong. Like
Yeah.
I wanted more depth for his character, not more like I want greed. Like I want give me your wish. Like what is the wish you want?
Yeah.
Like I just felt like it was so. There was a point where it became like so repetitive with the whole wishing. I was like,
I get that for sure.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. I get it. Like you don't have to show us all these
Yeah.
wishing scenes.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna leave it as that because I feel like I said a lot. But I think that was like the main thing. I just felt like there wasn't a real conflict with him and Wonder Woman, and it just didn't feel like there was stakes.
Okay.
And I just felt like Maxwell Lord wasn't a strong enough villain.
Okay. What? So
But
was that all your
but I
dislikes
guess
right
that's
there?
but I guess that's how it is with like politics. Yeah, yeah, those are all. I mean,
Those are all
I
your
could say,
dislikes? Yeah. Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
say
For sure.
more. The shaman. It was just a side note.
Oh
The
yeah. Yeah.
shaman dude.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like a comedy moment. Like he looked like the. Have you watched the Hot Chick?
The hot
The
chick?
hot chick.
Dude, that's
The
an
hot
old
chick.
movie.
Yeah, no. Do you
Yeah.
remember Adam Sandler in that movie? He was like, "Hey man, you could put your weed in here." Like he was like that
Yeah.
that stoner guy.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what he looked like to me.
Yeah.
I just thought that was hella funny. I thought the wig was just hilarious in Wonder Woman 84. I was like, what the hell am I watching? And
All
so
right. Yeah, yeah, dude.
yeah.
I would talked about that scene too, and that's actually one of my least favorite scenes in the movie. But
Yeah. Like
yeah,
what the
yeah.
this guy?
So,
But anyways,
so
yeah.
with that being said, let's go into so part of our agenda for today was to um go into our score for the movie. So, Darren, score the movie out of 5. Let us know what you thought.
Okay, out of 5, I give it a 2.8. I give it a 2.8.
2.8. Fair.
Yeah. I was gonna give it a 3, but
yeah.
I feel like I was being too nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
2.8 for me. 2.8 out of 5. That's me being honest.
Sorry, man. I just saw someone in the comments post, "What do you think about Diana having sex with a guy possessed by?"
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the whole rape. Yeah, I know.
So, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I didn't think about it until I
that.
went on the internet. I didn't
Okay,
think
sorry.
about it until I got.
We're supposed to be scoring the movie, and we're reading your comments in a second, guys. I just saw that.
That's Paulo.
And dude, that is that Paulo? What's up, Paulo?
No, Paulo's in the loose joints.
Oh, he's in. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into his comments after this, and then we'll rank the DCs after. So I liked your score. I'll say I was gonna give it a 2.75, but I'll raise that up to 2.8.
Okay.
Again, guys,
right, cool.
for me, like if I was to rank stuff out of 5, I think a 3 out of 5 I think it's a good movie, a really good movie. And for me, like you said, we kind of summed up our thoughts on this movie with this T.I. this T.I. meme right here. So that's kind of what I thought about. I was entertained. I was entertained like a Saturday morning cartoon. And I see that a lot of people love the movie, and I appreciate that. And I love that there's some diversity and discourse between the different DC factions, and it just kind of shows how wide of an umbrella the DC fandom is. So with that being said, we're gonna get into the scoring. Where we scored it. We're gonna get into our DCU ranking in just a second, but let's go ahead and